All right. Ed Carbajal here with Aaron Jeffrey for Sherdog.com. Speaking with the new champ, CFFC champ. Did you get a chance to watch the fight, by the way? Since I know you just got out of quarantine.
Yeah, I did. I watched the fight a couple times.
All right. So, you seemed in the post-fight interview, you seemed a little hard on yourself. So, I'm wondering, like, where you're at now that you've seen and some time has passed.
Yeah, I don't think it was that bad. I think I was probably being a little bit too hard on myself. Maybe just because I came off 3 knockouts before that. I was just expecting it to finish the same way again. But no, I don't think it was a bad fight. Like, I wanted to show my wrestling a little bit too. He was a wrestler, and I think I out wrestled him. I think maybe I could have opened up a little bit more in some spots, but no, I'm fairly happy with the performance.
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't think you did bad myself. I tuned in for it, and what was funny, I mean, now that you watch it, so I'm sure it's. I was tweeting when it was happening, and you had said it when we spoke before the fight that they were going to talk about your striking. I think it was like in round 1 or 2, John Morgan mentioned your striking, and I just found that funny. And obviously, the fight didn't, you had to change tactics. So, like, leading, obviously, when it was happening, was that just kind of like your reaction to the way he was? I mean, he was obviously tough, your opponent. So, is that kind of why you were initially hard on yourself because you had to change what folks were expecting of you? I know you said you're mostly a wrestler, so
Yeah. I don't know why I was so hard on myself immediately. Again, like I said, coming off three knockouts, maybe I just really expected to get another knockout in this one. I knew he was like kind of worn down too, and I felt maybe going into the third and fourth that it was gonna happen. Also, just like people in the crowd like yelling shit when you're fighting too. Maybe that was getting into my head a little bit.
Is it I mean, does that something that normally affects you, or is it just because of the way everything is right now in the world, you kind of heard it a little more?
You mean the people yelling in the crowd?
Yeah.
Honestly, it was probably just because it was like a small crowd. Like, it's pretty limited still. There's maybe like 100 people in there or something, so I could just really hear everything. And it was actually just like one guy specifically that I could hear the whole fight just talking shit to me.
That's crazy. I mean, because usually when places are full, it's kind of just like almost like a blank noise.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's funny that you say that because usually when I'm at an event, live covering an event, especially like when I go to Mohegan Sun for like Bellator events, they're usually sitting right behind me, like the
Yeah.
media row, and then there's crowd, and there's usually one guy that you hear the whole night. So
Yeah.
that, I guess that was the case for all 5 rounds.
Yeah, it was that one guy telling me to finish the fight.
Did he have any unique tips for you that kind of stuck in your mind?
No, just the typical shit, punch him in the face,
Yeah.
that kind of shit.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to ask you actually because I know we had talked about it before you were going there, and like coming from Canada into to Philly where the fight was. Right, it was in Philly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like just the situation with obviously you having to quarantine when you go home and traveling and trying to maintain stay in shape, stay weight in that week. Can you just take me through how that week was leading up to the fight?
The fight week itself was pretty fucking stressful, man, to be honest. So we had to get COVID test in order to get on the flight. I think that's like an Air Canada requirement. Maybe the government's probably making them do that. And it has to be within 72 hours of when your plane takes off. So you need to like try and time this test so that you know the results are going to come in time. So you're like, you can't do it too early to make sure you're going to get the results because then it's going to be too old. So we actually didn't have our results, and it was Friday night at like 5 p.m. and the hospital was closing. We had to call them and like hassle them a whole bunch, and they didn't want to give us the results or couldn't find them. The lady was getting her emails wrong and couldn't get it to us, and we eventually finally got it. So that was super stressful. And then getting there, we had to get other COVID tests for CFFC, obviously. We find out those are not the right COVID tests to let us back into Canada. So I got a COVID test on weigh-in day for CFFC and on fight day for CFFC. Then on fight day, we also drive to a clinic, pay like $200 Canadian each, and get our own COVID test so that we can come back into Canada. and I was doing that on fight day, like the day you're supposed to be like relaxing and chilling and eating and hydrating or whatever, and I'm like going to get another COVID test. So that was stressful too. And then 2 days before the fight, I also lost my wallet. I don't know if I lost it or got pickpocketed, but within like 20 minutes, there was charges on my Visa card at a gas station. So yeah, it was stressful to say the least.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
I mean, that's not for nothing. I mean, that's got to make the win matter a little more. I mean,
yeah,
you
for sure,
pull off a W after that.
for sure, man, absolutely.
It, how do you? I mean, I guess that's why you do what you do. But I mean, how did you? Do you think that might have affected like the way the fight? You fought great, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when the bell rang, was it all? Obviously, you have to be present.
Yeah,
But yeah,
no, like you said, I think that's why you do what you do, because I put in millions of reps in the 8 or 10 or 12 weeks leading up to the fight, so that no matter what kind of shit happens, when I get in there, I just do the things that I've repped out, and it comes naturally.
I mean, it's just crazy to hear about the testing and stuff like that. I mean, aren't there only? I'm not. What tests did they require from me? Because there's the antibodies and.
I don't know which. Do you guys know which test CFFC did? Was it the antigen test? So maybe CFFC did the antigen test, and we need the molecular test. I think that's what it was.
Wow.
And then at the border, when we came back, the guy barely fucking looked at my results. I showed him my cell phone. They actually had written the wrong name on my results, and he didn't even pick that up, the border officer. So obviously, they're not trying too hard to do that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You know what's funny? I mean, with the because now with the vaccination thing, I mean, I know you passed through my state of New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can literally go to the I can go right around the corner and get a COVID test if I need to.
Yeah.
And so it's just crazy to hear the differences of what seems to be, the
And then
logistics of things.
when I get back into Canada, they also give me 2 home test kits, which I had to do myself over the phone with a nurse, and then I send them through Purelator back to a lab, and then I get the results. And you're technically not supposed to leave your quarantine until your home test results come back too. So I got 2 before I left just to be safe, to know I would get my results back, which almost didn't happen. Then I got 3 in Philly, and then 2 more when I came home. So how many is that? 7? I got 7 tests within probably like 20 days or something.
And obviously, it's all good, right?
All good, clean as a whistle.
Thank God. You better be, right?
Seriously.
So I like looking back at everything, having to go through all that. Like I read I think it was MMA Empire. You did an interview with where they mentioned that you would have contemplated walking away or retiring from fighting if you didn't do well.
Yeah, I don't like that they made that the headline of the article, because it makes it sound like I really was going to retire. But no, I just told the guy the story, like injuries and COVID tests and lost wallet and all this stuff. And man, if I would have lost this fight, maybe I would have quit. So it was like, I probably would have been seriously upset, and who knows what I would have done. But it wasn't like seriously contemplating retirement at that point.
Yeah, no, it's like one of those things where you're like, "Fuck, I should have stayed home." But
yeah, exactly,
yeah, yeah, I hear you. So like now with the dust settling and everything, I mean, I know you've been watching everything going on in the sport right now. You just got back to training out because your quarantine's done. What are you what's ahead for Aaron Jeffrey? CFFC wants you to defend that thing, or what's going on?
No, I don't think they're too set on that, because I had the owner comment on one of my Instagram photos and say, "What a great champion. We hope we don't have you long." So I think he kind of expects me to get the call, but I guess UFC's not really signing fighters right now. Apparently, it's like all short notice fights, which is difficult for visa stuff, right? So the whole COVID scene is kind of fucking Canadian fighters over, because UFC's not doing shows in Canada. It's difficult for us to get visas. It's only short notice fights. It's just a lot of stuff going on. So I don't really know what's going to happen, to be honest.
I wonder if they start, depending on where things going. I wonder if they start planning ahead and trying to have some guys at least nearby and ready with all the, because obviously they're starting to go to different locations.
Yeah, and out west in Canada, like out in BC, they just had their first MMA show last weekend or a couple weeks ago. So maybe the UFC can come out to BC too, which would be nice.
Yeah, or any promotion at this point, right? I mean,
Yeah, seriously.
it just seems like it's I mean, the news seems to change every day, but I mean, especially hearing your story, and I'm talking to other fighters from other promotions who have been. There's guys here that have opponents that they're supposed to fight from
Hmm.
your neck of the woods, and
Hmm.
they're on hold for the
Yeah.
same reason.
Yeah.
So that's actually, you kind of answered my next question, because I was going to ask you, like, are you, if you're trying to stay ready for anything short notice, but obviously that's really not on the table, right?
Yeah. I don't know. My manager's working on some stuff for us, so hopefully, like within the next week or so, I'll know a little bit more. But I'm always ready for your short notice, anyways. Like I don't get heavy in between camps. Like I had a 2-week quarantine. That's all the rest I'm going to be taking. Like 2 practices already today. It's my first day out of quarantine, so yeah, I'll be ready if something comes up.
You would think with all those tests you got, you can get fast tracked into.
I'm serious, eh? I know.
You know what I'm saying?
And the officer actually showed, like the quarantine officer showed up at my house too. I think it was like day 12 or 14 of my quarantine. And they come and knock on your door and just make sure you're home and ask you questions and shit. Crazy. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, what about the whole vaccination thing? I mean, would that help if you were able to get it?
I don't know. You know what's crazy? On all like the official documents that you get, it says if you've had a positive COVID test result within the last 90 days, you don't need to do anything basically. So if you just test positive once, you're like off the hook for everything. You can just travel and like not worry about quarantine and not worry about extra tests and whatever, which is weird.
Yeah, because the antibodies stick around for a while.
Yeah.
I just know somebody that had it, and he keeps telling me that. So but what was it? You it's funny you can't get away from the mullet thing, even right after the fight. I mean, CM Punk's asking you to grade his mullet. So,
Yeah.
I mean, are you at the point now that you're just scared to change your hairstyle?
I can never cut it now. I know that for sure. It's with me for life.
Cool.
It's good. It's a good thing. I'm like I'm kind of a soft spoken, quiet guy. I'm not probably going to get much attention for my personality. So if I can just cut my hair a silly way and get the attention that way, it's great.
No, I think you got a great personality, man. I mean, you definitely you're truthful when you speak, and I mean, it helps that you're a pretty good fighter too.
I'm okay.
So anyway, congratulations on the win. I
Thanks, man.
appreciate the time. I
Yeah,
know
man.
you're just getting done training and eating and stuff, so I'll let you go. But thanks for coming. And
Thank you, man.
if you got anything coming up, I mean, anything you want to shout out, any sponsors you want to plug, go right ahead.
Yeah, just big thank you always to like everyone that supports me, my coaches, Niagara Top Team. One of my other coaches, Lyndon Whitlock, is we talked about him a little bit last time. His gym closed down. He's opening up a new gym. It's going to be Aegis MMA. They're going to be opening up just outside of Toronto. So I'm super happy for him. He's going to have another gym to run again. Friends, family, girlfriend, everyone's supporting me.
Oh, that's great. That's great news. I'm glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you so much, man. I'll let you get your rest, but thanks for taking
bro.
some time to talk.
Okay, have a good night.
You
Bye.
too. Take care.